Hello, Mark Holden from in Cornwall. Thank you so much for joining me for this very exciting episode of Hospitality Talks. It's really great to have a publican and licensee who's doing so much to change their business on with me. For those people out there who don't know you, can you just explain, who you are, who are in Cornwall, and what are the brands that work within that?
Yeah, so my name is Mark Holden. I'm the company director for In Cornwall Limited. We've got 3 premises that are all St Austell Brewery lease and tenanted public houses that are in Cornwall. That all the sites are over 51,000 rateable value. They're in rural communities, not really affected that much around seasonality. So we've got really strong lunchtime elderly clientele base, which is pretty reliant on pretty stable all year round.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Mark, we tend to talk on this on Hospitality Talks about what happened essentially when COVID-19 hit, and it's not there's not a massive description for you to give there on the fact that the pub was closed, but so what did happen, and how did you deal with that sort of initial impact?
I think initially, prior to COVID happening, it was being swamped with paperwork and renewing of policies and staff communications and training and bits. Now, I'm part of an organisation that's called Be the Business, of which I'm ambassador for, and I'm very lucky to have a group that we meet up with every month. And we, in February, rather than doing our normal monthly action learning group, we just took some time out and just started discussing about the possibility of what might happen with COVID-19. And it was really interesting, that session that we did, because it kind of got me prepared rather than being a bit walloped. So from that session, we just came back and immediately started putting all our policies out, training the staff, making sure that the hand sanitizers were out, making sure the venues were spaced out. We were even doing safety videos for our guests and doing audio video announcements and looking at potentially what might happen. And the quicker that everything ramped up, the more reduction in trade that we were seeing, and Mother's Day was coming quicker and quicker. And we made the decision prior to the closure to go, look, we've got to do something about this pretty early. So we decided to cancel Mother's Day and ring around as many of our guests as we could, but were hell bent on still trying to provide a service. So we did Mother's Day, but we turned it into a pure 100% takeaway service right from the off for Mother's Day, and just tried to communicate and encourage as many people as we possibly could to just turn up to the venues that they were booked in, and just pick their meals up and then just take them to the mums at their homes. So that kind of started everything off.
That's amazing, Mark, because I haven't, I've been doing these talks for a long time. I speak to licensees and publicans most days, just because of the fact that we're a research company, and I've not heard of many that were so well prepared for the situation as you. And that's great that you'd already had those forums, you already had that insight and that information, and to be able to train your staff, and that was amazing. And I would imagine it prepared you for what came next. So what have you been doing for the last I don't know, how long is it now? 12 weeks?
I don't know. Well, yeah, who knows? It's really bizarre, because prior to lockdown, I think I've got something that's called sarcoidosis. So I'm at the highest risk level. So on the 13th, I was locked down prior. So since then, I've been locked down, and I'm operating the 3 businesses and the company with my company director on the ground, and then me probably locked behind doors. So
you're actually fully in shielding then, and you're achieving shielding. I did not know that. That's
trying. Yeah,
okay, so sorry,
which brings up a whole new load of challenges. So yeah,
I bet Zoom is your best friend.
Oh, the amount of software and apps and bits and pieces, and the amount of productivity that all our team members are having to adapt to is brilliant. Yeah, it's in a sense, there's lots of positivity that's coming out of something that's pretty crap.
Yeah, I agree. So sorry, we were talking about what you've done. So tell me how
Yeah.
you've pivoted the business and what changes you've made in the last 12 weeks.
Yeah. So prior to the shutdown, I was in lots of conversations with our county councillors and adult care, and there was lots of people kind of screaming out of what if. You know, what if this really did go horribly wrong and people were kind of locked indoors and weren't able to go to the supermarket and couldn't get food, and weren't able to get provisions? So that kind of got us thinking. So we immediately got hold of a telecoms provider called Data Sharp, and we installed an emergency telephone centre in one of our venues and had multiple lines coming through. But I made the decision, whatever we were going to try to do, there were lots of options available. Whatever we were going to try to do, we're going to try and speak to people.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And then we started looking at all of our systems, of our online, our till systems and our iCloud systems, started to put everything onto cloud. And then we worked with our till systems that were ICR Touch and our provider of our EPOS systems, and worked a way of designing the software that they have to enable us to place an order and then be able to print a ticket into any one of our kitchens. And so that's what we did. So we then immediately started to train all of our staff members and change their roles in the business, which enabled us to then float a takeaway business that we were kind of already doing in a sense. So on Sundays we would be very popular. And would be full, and we'd already started to introduce like a takeaway roast, and people would just come up and have a container, plate it up, and then take it away. And we were already doing it probably about across 3 businesses, 100 units of them a day. So we knew it kind of worked, and we knew the containers that we needed, and already had some people that were used to that format. And then we thought, well, we've just got to get out on the ground. Whatever happens, there's an opportunity or calling for us to be able to provide a service out to the rural communities and probably provide some provision. So that was the idea. So we then became a pub grub delivery company, and we worked on kind of brandings and worked on ideas, and we created a concept of called Deliver Pub Grub. Call the pub for your doorstep grub. Created radio adverts, and then we went right back to basics of printing 40,000 flyers and then getting everybody on the ground and then just hand delivering them. Whenever it was sunny, encouraging people just to get out to where there was pockets of bungalows and talk to people that were outside, like trimming their hedges and the bits. And so everything gradually started to build and to ramp up. So our apprentices became call center people. We had our front of house team members that were over 21 became delivery drivers. We had KPs that then turned into packers. And we also got hold of some car dealership companies. So there was Ocean BMW, and I just said, look, you guys, we're going to end up going lockdown. It's like potentially, like, what vehicles have you got that you might not be using? So they donated us an electric i3, one of their demo cars, to kind of join into a fleet. And then we had another company that was Ward Williams Associates, who were based in Truro, fantastic company. They had 2 fleet vehicles that they weren't going to use because they were kind of having everyone on furlough. So immediately we had 3 electric vehicles as fleet vehicles, which was fantastic. So we made a decision that we weren't going to charge delivery fees at all, and our main objective was that we were just going to try and sell as much as we could to just pay for the stock and pay for staff hours, and the more that we sold, then the more hours that we could then provide to the workforce. And so hence the launch of Deliver Pub Grub. And so that's now the forefront of our business, and And we've been doing that right the way from the 20th, from all 3 of our premises. So we've got minimum amounts of staff in 2 of the premises, and then we've got call centre staff that are processing the orders, and then those tickets just automatically print out inside of one of the other kitchens, and then that gets picked up, and then they go off and deliver to the doorstep, and it's turning into a hell of a project. Yeah.
I bet. I mean, I'm so impressed. Now, there's a couple of things I wanted to pick up on there, Mark. And the first one is the sort of back to basics marketing that you're talking about. I've had KAM as a company has joined with forces with people like Mark McCulloch and other people that are quite, sort of faces in our industry and well-known superstars in our industry to create the 100-day playbook, which is all about how to open up pubs, bars, and restaurants when the time comes. And one of the points that is made in that is that we are back to basics marketing now, because there's so many things you can't do, but there's also so many things you can do. And you're absolutely right. Going past and giving leaflets to people whilst they're sat in their gardens and going to places where there are still people in parks and areas is it's pretty much free to do, apart from your time to photocopy and to actually get feet on the street. And most of those people, as you say, they're working for you anyway. They might as well be doing something for use and bringing in business. The second thing I wanted to pick on was the collaboration. I mean, with BMW and with that. I mean, that's amazing. That's such a great idea. And when this situation first occurred, there were so many businesses that were no longer trading as the businesses they were meant to trade for, but that doesn't mean they can't do anything. So there's lots of other ideas. So I think that's fantastic.
I think for me that period was really exciting, of having access to people that effectively didn't have a lot to do. And so, like, there were so many really great ideas that we were just throwing about, and people would go, "Yeah, that's brilliant. I've got time in my hands. I'll do that, or I'll try that, or let's experiment." And so we were just striking deals and just going, well, how about this idea? Do you think it's possible? Is it worth spending time on? Could it be expanded on? Could there be like a product that you might be able to use later in the day? And so everything just started to fall into place and move. And to be fair, it moved pretty quick because we had to move quick. We didn't get it all right. There were it's been lots of ups and lots of downs, and there's been tears along the way, but we're now aligning ourselves. We've changed all of our company and our vision statement, and we are now kind of saying that, like, we are a pub grub delivery company first and foremost, and then as everything kind of unlocks and down, and that bolts on to this at this moment in time, and we've had to just become so flexible in what we do, and we've had to learn pretty quick, and we've had to adapt and just try to get better, and now we're having some really good discussions with our team. It's like, the food delivery service can be quite a faceless process. And why should it be? And why can't we, as a pub sector, with knowing what we know, knowing how we're really personable, and we built our company up, I would hope, by delivering good customer service levels. And why can't we do this with this? Why can't we be exceptional at delivering pub grub with really good personable, like, customer service skills?
Well, it sounds to me like that is exactly what you're doing, and Mark, that's the perfect place for me to end, really, because we are running out of time. But what you're doing is fantastic. The speed that you've done it with is fantastic. I think you're absolutely right. Trying things now, it's the right time to try things. Consumers are going to be more, accepting if you screw something up, So, no, I think fantastic. Congratulations to you and to all of the team. I don't suppose you deliver to South East London, do you?
Well, if you've got somebody that would be interested, I'm sure we'd be able just to print a ticket straight out into their kitchen and get them up float probably within about 24 hours. So, the kind of concepts there. We're even working at the moment with delivery logistics app, whereas all of the order processing details transfer over into a delivery software app with a push of 2 buttons. It optimizes all the routes and then downloads the routes onto a mobile app. So it's kind of, and we're now working with kind of introducing that technology into other sectors as part of the Be the Business Ambassadors as a pasty company. It's up in Bolton, and when I was talking to him about what the work that we were doing with this technology company, and now he's on the verge of introducing it into deliver frozen pasties around Bolton. Well, so it's great collaborations that are happening.
Fantastic, brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time, Mark, and I'm wishing you the best of luck with it. And as soon as lockdown is over, I will be heading down to Cornwall anyway. So,
no, well, I hope I get to see my pub's refurbishment before you do. I just don't know when. I don't know when I'll be able to get to like go back into our own business again, which is just a really bizarre. It's a bizarre thing. Yeah.
No, well done. Everything you're doing is absolutely fantastic, and it's been a joy to listen to what you've put in place and to know that it's been a success for you.
Back to basic marketing.
There you go. Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, Katie. Bye-bye.